Good evening. You're watching the news at 8 o'clock. I'm Rishika Barua. Let's get you the top headlines. 2.47 lakh COVID cases in the country. It's a 27% rise in just a day. The Prime Minister held a key review meet to take stock of the situation, where he said the country needs to be on high alert, especially in festival season. He's also reiterated how most cases should be treated under home isolation. However, has warned that we must prepare for a variant after Omicron as well. And even as the positivity rate in the country soars, curbs have been relaxed for festivals. Take a look at those pictures. Thousands converge for a holy dip as cases spike in Uttar Pradesh. Bihu celebrations were allowed in Assam. Crowds gathered at Ganga Sagar in West Bengal as they did at Tirupati. There was no social distancing that was seen. The Karnataka Congress has suspended its 10-day Padyatra on day 5. Congress leaders Veerappa Moily, Mallikarjun Kharge are among the 5 leaders who tested positive. DK Shivakumar speaks to NDTV and denies that his colleagues tested positive because of the yatra. 8 MLAs, including 3 ministers, have quit the Uttar Pradesh BJP in just 3 days. The Uttar Pradesh minister, who vowed to be with the BJP just yesterday, quit today. Dharam Singh Saini is likely to join the Samajwadi Party. The Congress has given a ticket to the mother of the Unnao rape victim. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra today announced the first list of candidates for the Uttar Pradesh election. The Samajwadi Party and RLD have also declared their first list of 29 candidates for the polls, 19 seats for RLD and 29 candidates for 10 seats for the SP. I beg your pardon. An NDTV exclusive, a new Chinese enclave in Bhutan. High-resolution satellite images with NDTV show 166 buildings and roads approximately less than 30 kilometers from Doklam. The Guwahati-Bikaner Express derails in West Bengal. 3 people have died in this accident. Several are injured, say railway sources. And in the Haridwar hate speech row, the police have arrested Wasim Rizvi, also known as Jitendra Tyagi, but no action has been taken against the 4 others accused in the case. Our top focus story tonight, a 27% rise in coronavirus cases in just 24 hours. India has reported 2.47 lakh cases. It's the biggest single-day jump of over 52,000 cases in just 24 hours, a single biggest increase in cases since the pandemic began here in India. Amid the COVID surge, Prime Minister Modi today met chief ministers via video conferencing. He stressed on local containment, adding that most cases need home isolation. However, he also warned that we should be prepared for another variant after Omicron.
अब हमारे पास कोरोना से लड़ाई का 2 साल का अनुभव है। देशव्यापी तैयारी भी है। सामान्य लोगों की आजीविका, आर्थिक गतिविधियों को कम से कम नुकसान हो, अर्थव्यवस्था की गति बनी रहे, कोई भी रणनीति बनाते समय हम इन बातों को जरूर ध्यान में रखें। लोकल कंटेनमेंट पर ज्यादा फोकस करना बेहतर होगा। जहां से ज्यादा केस आ रहे हैं, हमें यह भी सुनिश्चित करना होगा कि होम आइसोलेशन में ही ज्यादा से ज्यादा ट्रीटमेंट हो सके। ओमिक्रॉन से निपटने के साथ ही हमें आने वाले किसी और संभावित वेरिएंट के लिए भी अभी से तैयारी शुरू कर देनी है।
Meher Pandey, tracking the details of this story, joins us live with the latest. Meher, important points made by the Prime Minister yesterday. He's warned of more variants after Omicron as well. He's also talked about how most cases in this wave can be treated under home isolation. But what are the kind of projections? What are the numbers looking like at the moment?
Yes, Rishika. So the Prime Minister did chair a key meeting with Chief Ministers today in light of the rapidly increasing cases so far. He emphasized, as you said, the importance of local containment, vaccination, and the importance of home isolation, particularly in this wave, because the Omicron variant is highly transmissible but milder in the majority of patients. He also, in fact, listed the preparedness by states and how they spent the money that was allocated a few months ago. He said that there are now more than 800 pediatric care units in district hospitals across the country. Almost 1.5 lakh new oxygen and ICU beds have been set up. More than 5,000 ambulances and 950 liquid medical oxygen storage tankers. Remember that storage and transport of oxygen was a key pain point in the second wave. Now, this meeting was at a landmark day in India's throughout the pandemic. Today, we recorded more than 52,000 new daily cases, and this is the highest increase ever since the pandemic has actually begun. If we look at a graph and we'll see how much faster cases are actually increasing in this wave than they did in the second as well as the first wave. So we really are in for a big challenge. This is what's actually worrying in this situation is hospitalization, because huge numbers of cases will mean that hospitalization will increase, although the rate of hospitalization is lower this time than it was in the second wave, but a smaller percentage of a huge number is still a very big number, and as we know, sometimes our healthcare system is sometimes overwhelmed as well, so that is something we need to be looking out for. What's even more worrying is that...
Yes. All right, Meher, well, we leave it at that for now, but that is a massive 27% rise in cases in just 24 hours. Let's also shift our focus now and get you the other big story that Meher's been tracking for us, which is the cases in Delhi. Over 28,000 COVID cases in the national capital in 24 hours, 31 deaths. The positivity rate in Delhi is inching closer to the 30% mark, with 29.2% as the daily positivity rate. Now, Delhi has seen a huge spike in COVID cases and deaths. There have been nearly 100 deaths that have been reported in the last 4 days. A critical reminder that while Omicron is mild for most people, it isn't mild for all.
Bodies of the COVID dead being sanitized and labelled for a COVID-safe cremation. Devastated families cannot see the faces of their loved ones one last time. Scenes that bring back memories of the second wave. The fatality rate is lower in this wave, and so crematoriums are not flooded. But for some people, primarily the elderly who have comorbidities, the infection is still deadly. 62-year-old Shama Rani Gupta from Delhi lost her husband MP Gupta 3 days ago. He contracted COVID at a private hospital while recovering from heart surgery.
जीने की तमन्ना ही नहीं रही बिल्कुल भी। अब तो ये लगता है कि कहाँ जाऊँ, कैसे रहूँ, मुझे अपने बच्चों के लिए जीना पड़ेगा। मैं तो जा रही थी कि पहले मैं चली जाऊँ, मेरे हस्बैंड यहाँ रहे मेरे बच्चों के पास। मेरी कोई तमन्ना नहीं है जीने की।
डॉक्टर ने कहा बिल्कुल फैंटास्टिक ऑपरेशन हुआ है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशन नहीं है, और रिकवरी भी अच्छी हो रही थी, कोई प्रॉब्लम थी, हमें दिख रहा था कि रिकवरी बहुत अच्छी है। तो मैम थर्ड डे के मॉर्निंग में ही उनको सांस की प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो गई। उसके नेक्स्ट डे ही मुझे कॉल आ गया कि उनको मॉर्निंग में हार्ट अटैक आया और वो नहीं बच पाए।
COVID deaths in Delhi are on the rise again. Just in the last 3 days, the official daily count has gone from 17 to 23 to now 40. The Omicron variant driving this third wave has been called mild by many, but it is crucial to remind ourselves that it is not mild for all. The infection can still be fatal for the elderly, people with comorbidities and unvaccinated children.
आज से 10 दिन पहले एक बॉडी आ रही थी, तो हमने उस दिन मैंने सोशल मीडिया पे डाला कि एक आंकड़ा बढ़ने वाला है, और कल आपने देखा ऑफिशियल 40 डेथ थी, जबकि 12 तो हमने ही कराई हैं। दिल्ली इतनी बड़ी है, 368 से ज़्यादा शमशान घाट हैं, हमारे एक शमशान घाट पे 12 क्रिमेशन हुए, 3 हमने बॉडी दफनाई भी हैं। तो मुझे लगता है आने वाला मंजर अभी अच्छा नहीं रहेगा, लोगों को सावधान रहना चाहिए।
Sources from the Health Ministry say that 7 out of the 97 deaths due to COVID in the national capital in the last 4 days have been of children, a worrying statistic. Between 19 to 40 years, there were 18 deaths. Between 41 to 60 years, there were 37 deaths. Between 61 to 80 years, there were 27 deaths. Above 80 years, there were 8 deaths. With Pujaria, Meher Pandey for NDTV.
Well, the other big story we're tracking tonight, the Congress has suspended its 10-day Padyatra in Karnataka on day 5. This after 5 leaders, including senior leaders like Veerappa Moily and Mallikarjun Kharge, have tested positive for COVID. A defiant DK Shivakumar spoke to NDTV and said that his colleagues haven't got COVID because of the yatra.
Am I not right that between 5 and 6 senior Congress leaders, including Mr. Moily, these are all senior citizens, have contracted COVID, which is most likely Omicron? Given the
No. You see, it is not connected to our case, I'm telling you. It is not.
Were they not campaigning with you, sir?
No. They are not campaigning with us. They have not been contacted with us. It is no way connected to our this one, Yatra. They are no way connected to Yatra.
Karnataka has a 44% spike in COVID cases.
No. They see, it is all created, I'm telling you. It is not.
The numbers are not created, sir. On what basis do you say the numbers are created?
See, those who have got negative outside, when they come to Bangalore, they become positive. That is why I demanded for a judicial inquiry on this issue. For me itself, a deputy commissioner sends a officer who has a positive to discuss with me. Then yesterday night, a deputy commissioner who has signed a letter, who himself has got a positive, who was along with the chief minister, sends me a letter. They are trying to trap me.
Well, the big political focus, 8 MLAs including 3 ministers have quit the BJP in Uttar Pradesh in just the last 3 days. Dharam Singh Saini from western Uttar Pradesh, Saharanpur, was the latest to leave the party a day after he said he wouldn't leave the BJP. Clearly, 24 hours is a long time in politics. Alok Pandey with the latest.
A third OBC minister quitting the Adityanath government in 3 days. Dharam Singh Saini from West UP's Saharanpur, who joined the BJP in 2016, today said his reasons were similar to those of Eastern UP strongman Swami Prasad Maurya and Dara Singh Chauhan, also from Eastern UP.
देखिए, ये 1.5 वर्ष पहले तय हो चुका था कि हम सब लोग रिजाइन देंगे। जब विधानसभा में लगभग 140 विधायकों ने धरना दिया था सरकार के खिलाफ और दलित पिछड़े वर्ग के लोगों का उत्पीड़न जिस तरीके से हो रहा था, ये आवाज़ बुलंद करी थी विधायकों ने, मंत्रियों ने, और इसी का सिलसिला आज शुरू है कि रोज एक मंत्री इस्तीफा दे रहा है। ये 20 तारीख तक इसी तरह चलता रहे।
Like the past 2 days, another tweet by SP chief Akhilesh Yadav welcoming Saini to the Samajwadi Party with the hashtag Mela Hobe, suggesting an incoming explosion of BJP leaders into the party.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी में ही रहूंगा।
Just 24 hours ago, Saini had rubbish reports of leaving the BJP.
मेरा नाम भी समाजवादी पार्टी को जो उन्होंने विधायकों की इस्तीफा देने वालों में या पार्टी छोड़ने वालों में जो सूची उन्होंने दी है, उसमें मेरा नाम भी है। उन्होंने ये गलत किया है, मेरी जानकारी के बगैर उन्होंने नाम दिया है। मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी में हूं और भारतीय जनता पार्टी में ही रहूंगा।
Apart from the 3 ministers, 7 other BJP MLAs have quit in the last 72 hours. All except one are likely to align with the Samajwadi Party.
The BJP's top UP leadership, stung by the exits, attended this election committee meeting in Delhi, the party's first this season, chaired virtually by Prime Minister Modi. It seems that the party was mum on the issue of defections.
आज केंद्रीय चुनाव समिति की उत्तर प्रदेश को लेकर जो बैठक संपन्न हुई, उसमें 172 विधानसभा सीटों को लेकर के चर्चा हुई और भारतीय जनता पार्टी शानदार विजय, जैसी विजय हमने 2017 में प्राप्त की थी, उससे भी शानदार विजय हम 2022 में प्राप्त करेंगे।
As defections from BJP in UP continued amid the election committee meeting chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Delhi BJP headquarters, the top leadership remained non-responsive on the questions of defections in the state. However, party sources say that these defections have more to do with personal ambitions than the party's performance back in the state.
As a counter, the BJP has held on to both its major OBC allies in UP, Sanjay Nishad of the Nishad Party and Anupriya Patel of the Apna Dal. Top sources say it's almost certain that Adityanath will contest the election. It could be from the temple town of Ayodhya. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Well, the Samajwadi Party and the RLD have in fact declared their first list for the Uttar Pradesh polls. Candidates have been declared for the first 29 seats, 19 seats for the RLD in this first list and 10 for the Samajwadi Party. Now, this comes hours after the Congress released its first list of 125 candidates. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra announced that list. The Congress has fielded the mother of 2017 Unnao rape victim as its candidate for the next month's election.
हमारे उन्नाव की जो प्रत्याशी हैं, जो उन्नाव का बहुत बड़ा रेप का केस हुआ था, उनकी माताजी हैं आशा सिंह जी। वो चुनाव लड़ना चाहती हैं और हमने उनको मौका दिया है कि अपने संघर्ष को वो जारी रखें और जिस सत्ता के जरिए उनको दबाया गया, उनके परिवार के साथ तरह तरह के अत्याचार किए गए, उनके पति की हत्या की गई, उनके देवर जी आज भी जेल में हैं, उनकी बेटी का बलात्कार किया गया, उसके बाद एक्सीडेंट कराया गया, वही सत्ता अपने हाथों में लें और खुद के लिए अपनी लड़ाई लड़ें।
All right, so 40% of the tickets there have in fact been reserved for women. Well, shifting focus to the big exclusive we're tracking tonight, new Chinese enclaves are now being seen in Bhutan. High-resolution satellite imagery accessed by NDTV shows 166 buildings and roads. Vishnu Shom joins us with the very latest. Vishnu, these can be seen just approximately less than 30 kilometers from Doklam.
Precisely, and quite close to the Siliguri corridor. That's that narrow sliver of land between the northeast of the country and the rest of India. That's the concern from a security standpoint. What are the Chinese doing, firstly, illegally in Bhutanese territory? So let's bring these images up over here. And high-resolution satellite imagery sourced by NDTV confirms that China may be constructing, and let's have these full frame please, may be constructing at least 2 large interconnected villages well within the territory of Bhutan. Now, the high-resolution satellite imagery which you see here has been sourced from Maxar. Let's change the image, and confirms that China may be constructing at least 2 large interconnected villages within the territory of Bhutan, approximately 5 kilometers within Bhutan. Now, this lies about 30 kilometers from the Doklam Plateau, where India and China had a tense standoff in 2017, when Indian soldiers physically blocked Chinese road construction activity. This is the exact area where it is taking place. As you can see on that red spot is where the disputed area is right now, where China is illegally constructing those buildings. Let's see if we've got any more images. All right, so that's what we have for you as far as these exclusive images are concerned.
All right, thanks Vishnu for joining us with the very latest. We'll keep a close watch on those developments. Let's now shift our focus to the other big story. We're tracking distressing visuals have surfaced of multiple passengers trapped in the debris after a train accident in North Bengal. This after the Guwahati-Bikaner Express derailed at around 5 p.m. this evening in the Jalpaiguri district in West Bengal. At least 3 people have been killed and over 20 people have been injured, and 40 people, railway sources say, have been rescued so far. And while as COVID cases rise, festivals are celebrated across India. Lodi in the north of India to Bhogi in the south, Bihu in the east, and Sankranti and Pongal in southern states. There's no scaling down festival season celebrations despite that massive surge in COVID cases that we've reported today. In fact, curbs were even relaxed in several parts to aid celebrations. NDTV brings you ground reports.
Uttar Pradesh Prayagraj could well become a COVID super spreader after the Adityanath government decided to go ahead with the annual Magh Mela, where lakhs of devotees are expected to take a holy dip on Makar Sankranti at the famous Sangam or confluence of the Ganga and Yamuna rivers. The Chief Minister has requested those symptomatic or not fully vaccinated to stay away. The past week has seen COVID cases go up 10 times in Prayagraj. Thousands of people, mostly unmasked, are coming in. The government says their vaccination certificates और RT-PCR रिपोर्ट्स are being checked.
व्यवस्था के बारे में भी ज़्यादा जानकारी नहीं थी मुझे. थर्मल स्कैनिंग की गई, बाकी तो कुछ ऐसा मांगा नहीं गया अपने से.
Unlike in UP, neighbouring Uttarakhand has banned devotees from taking a dip in the Ganga at Haridwar tomorrow to stop COVID spike. In Guwahati, hundreds have come to the fish market by the Brahmaputra to buy fresh catch for Uruka, Bogali Bihu's grand feast.
डिस्टेंसिंग प्लस को भी मास्क लगा के मार्केटिंग में आ रहा हूँ।
कोई आदमी 10 आदमी को नहीं बोलेगा, घर का आदमी जितना है हम लोग 7 आदमी है।
In the first 2 weeks of the new year, daily COVID cases have gone up almost 22 times in Assam. There are 12,000 active cases, half of them in Guwahati alone, with positivity rate touching 14%, at double the rest of the state. But curfew hours have been relaxed to allow the grand feast and celebration.
One, it infects the elderly. One, it infects the people with comorbidities. It may produce sickness. To reduce all these effects, we must be very cautious. We must avoid unnecessary travels. We must avoid the gatherings. Especially, the family gatherings, sometimes you require the family gatherings, but it should be in a very open place.
In Amonikhali village in Assam's Raha, this Bihu structure made by locals called Bhelagar in the form of a COVID vaccine and vaccinator to symbolically remind people of the fight against the pandemic. In Kolkata, Eastern India's biggest fair is on at Ganga Sagar on Babu Ghat. Despite West Bengal witnessing the highest spikes in the COVID third wave, over 22,000 cases just on Wednesday, devotees thronged to take a holy dip in the Ganga. This after the Calcutta High Court allowed those who have taken both vaccine doses and can show a double vaccination certificate. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee knows this can potentially become a super spreader.
কোর্ট যে নির্দেশ দিয়েছেন সেটাকে মানা সরকারের দায়িত্ব, সেই পরিমাণে শক্তি রাখা উচিত, টেস্ট হওয়া উচিত, ডবল ডোজ হয়েছে কিনা দেখা উচিত। এগুলো না দেখে তাহলে আর কি লাভ হলো? সেই যদি হয় এখন 10,000 হোক আর 10 লাখ লোক হোক, খুব বেশি পার্থক্য হবে না তো? সেখানে মুশকিল হয়ে যাবে যদি একবার সংক্রমণ হয়ে যায় ওই জায়গায় গিয়ে।
গঙ্গাসাগর মেলা প্রসঙ্গে বরাবর বলছি আমরা যে এটা বিপজ্জনক হচ্ছে, সংক্রমণ বাড়বে। গঙ্গাসাগর একটা সুপার স্প্রেডার, এটা বিশেষজ্ঞদের সবার মত।
In Andhra Pradesh, Tirumala, the Grand Swarnaradham procession on Vaikunta Ekadasi. 50,000 free darshan tickets are to be issued for 10 days to Tirupati residents for the much sought after Vaikunta Dwara Darshanam. Telangana, however, decided not to allow devotees to crowd temples for Uttara Dwara Darshanam that is considered special during Sankranti. So virtual darshans are the recommended option. With Alok Pandey in Uttar Pradesh, G.D. Shankar in West Bengal, Ratnadeep Chaudhary in Assam, Uma Sudhir in Telangana for NDTV.